All right, I'm back, True Crime Grapevine fans. I'm Patti Lee, your your dyslexic armchair detective, and this is episode 12, and we are to our sixth case. It is Johnny Depp. It's our celebrity case. I might start doing a celebrity, like the Tuesday would be like True Crime Grapevine, and maybe a celebrity version later on in the week. Let me know what you think. Put comments down below if you're on YouTube. That would be great. Hey, give it a thumbs up. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's all free. That would really help this channel grow. I think that's what I'm supposed to say, right? But really, if you're interested in true crime and you don't have all the time in the world to watch, and you like to drink wine and would like, woo! And you would like some, especially somebody who's, I'm not really a wine connoisseur. Maybe I'll become one. But I'm drinking reds, I'm drinking whites, I'm drinking seltzers, I'm drinking whatever. Please, if you have a wine that you would like me to try and pair with one of my cases, put it in the comments below. I would love some suggestions, especially if you have good descriptors with it. All right, so with the Johnny Depp case, it's celebrity. We have Barefoot Bubbly. It is a Moscato Spumante because it is sweet and bubbly like Johnny Depp. I am of the age to love Johnny Depp. Although I didn't watch 21 Jump Street at all. Was he in the, what do you call it? You know, Pony Boy, Soda Pop. Was he in that? I think he might have been. Anyways, really what I know him from is like Edward Scissorhands. Oh my goodness. That's hard to say, being dyslexic, isn't it? Edward Scissorhands. And of course, all of those movies. I loved him in, was it Sleepy Hollow? Which was creepy, but it was, I loved everything about that movie. Like, just, it was drama. Okay, and speaking of drama, our boy Johnny. Now, like everybody, he's fallen in love. Actually, he's had a great sort of love life. Winona Ryder, and I didn't know this, Jennifer Grey, Kate Moss. Okay, so we're probably into his drug phase. And people did drugs a lot in the 80s and 90s. I am a square. I barely drink wine. But here's to you. Party on, those who do. I mean, I guess legally, right? Okay, so Johnny Depp has a fabulous love life. Oh, but he was, I mean, his love life and anybody's, if you want to look for people like who are, even if they have like, everybody has some issue in how they deal with stress, right? And some of us don't do well. People develop eating disorders, or they sleep around too much, or they shop too much, or they have affairs with people because they can't get enough attention, or like there's a normal spectrum of what people act like, even inappropriate actions, even maladaptive behavior that people have, like, oh, I drank too much wine, or like people who get hooked on pills, or I mean, and even if it's not like a problem, but anyway, I'm getting off track here. You look at people's stability. That's one big key if someone's like cuckoo for coconuts. And not to, I mean, I'm not making fun of mental illness. I'm not talking about like normal, like someone who's severely disabled will have a problem with relationships. Now, Johnny Depp was, not only did he have long-term girlfriends and such, he was married, I believe, for 14 years. That's, I mean, you don't have to be a perfect person, but if you can make something work for 14 years, and if, like, people always make fun of Taylor Swift, shout out Taylor, who I love. And by the way, she's 30. I hope she dated a bunch of people in a row. Being a serial monogamous, also my boy, John Mayer. Shout out, John. Look, that is normal behavior. I don't know about you, but if you don't get married right out of high school, yeah, serial relationships. You're trying on people for size. But that is normal. And Johnny Depp, well, he got married. 14 years. Nice, like, bunch of girlfriends, marriage, okay, 14 years. a lot of people have, things get stale, whatever. I don't know exactly what happens, and I don't care. It's not my business. And then he dates again and ends up dating Amber Heard. Okay, Amber Heard, on the other hand, let's just take it back. On the other hand, somebody who has a interesting history, including being arrested for DV. Now, I'm just saying, this case involves DV and accusations of, when the only person who has a history of it is the person who is thought to maybe have some sort of personality disorder where they would claim things that it was always somebody else's fault. I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm on case 6. We've been pairing a lot of things with our True Crime Grapevine wine time. But if you watch this case, now I've been a little bit obsessed with this case because not only do I have a psychological background, so I watched like the psychologists who talk about it. Okay, so the 2 psychologists that I really like. Now, where did I put all my people? My sources. My main squeezes. Oh, no. I don't know where I put them, but I can probably tell you them. The guy he's called the Seattle Psychologist, and who's the other? And then there's like body language people who I love. There's the body language guy, and there's the behavior panel. And then, the other psychologist is Dr. Todd Grande. Love him. He's got such an interesting dry wit. If you don't know everything, like there's little things, he says it very dry, very straight. You don't even get that he's joking. He's freaking hilarious if you get his sense of humor. I love him as a psychologist. So you have Dr. Todd Grande. You have the Seattle Psychologist. You have the behavior panel. You have the behavior language guy. And then you have all the lawyers. Emily D. Baker. Shout out, Emily. Love her channel. Oh, and she talked about, I don't know if her name, I'm not going to say it right. I'm sorry. Annalie. She's on Legal Bytes, and it's Bytes spelled B-Y. T-E-S, Legal Bytes. Great YouTube channel. Very entertaining to watch. Very knowledgeable. I love her delivery. Different from Emily D. Baker, but very cool as well. Very academically cool. I don't know. Academic chic. And they just introduced me to Logic, I believe. His name is Joe, and I think it's L-A, like law, but like logic, but logic. And uncivil law. Anyway, so that's LawTube. Anyway, so we've got the lawyers, we've got the behavior analysts, and we've got the psychologists. People, let me just tell you, Amber Heard, in my opinion, speculation only, I think the psychologist who said, no, she doesn't seem to have PTSD. She seems to have a personality disorder. She seems to have, so they call it borderline personality, histrionic. Dr. Grande calls it vulnerable narcissism. I like the term vulnerable narcissism because it more succinctly captures the problem. Like, it's narcissistic, like it's all about them. They only see it from their own point of view, but they're vulnerable. They are a victim. Like, I don't know. That captures what I see going on. So if you haven't been following the case, Amber Heard wrote an article that she was married to Johnny Depp. Apparently, and I believe this, Johnny Depp said, like, they had a very tumultuous relationship. They only were married 2 years, I think, and maybe they were only married 18 months. That was it, but they dated a little bit longer. And there's a pattern here, because in the beginning, apparently, she acts like she was playing really hard to get. Like, oh, he was coming on to me, and I was polite, but I didn't think it was appropriate. Whatever, Amber. No offense. Sister. Girl. Come on. Right. Anyways, and when she was on the stand, she was talking, when she talked about him, and all during court, she stared at him. Dude, the girl is still obsessed in love with Johnny Depp. And she, like, tried to act like she didn't know who he was. Then a girlfriend, I guess, said, yeah, she knew who he was. Duh. Everybody knows who Johnny Depp is. Anyway, she... sorry, can you tell? I just can't with this whole thing. Because she's got a story that doesn't make sense. In her story, she's battered and beaten up and smacked around. And then there's pictures of her the next day. And dude, as many people have pointed out, and on Twitter, many people put their own pictures up. Like, this was the day after I got hit, like, 3 times by my, like, you can't, a little Amica queen cannot cover up, like, big, huge goose eggs and a bust lip. I mean, that's not what it looks more like. Oh, little filler, little Botox shots here, you know. It's not all over yet, and we don't know. All I can tell you is that I watched a lot of Johnny Depp's, not just the commentary, but I watched him say his piece when he was on the stand. And then I watched Amber Heard. And let me just tell you, oh, and also she dresses like him, which the one psychologist said, like, people with this borderline personality will do, like, in a mocking, weird way. They do things to get your attention and sort of like message to you. I don't know. I may not be saying that just right. Again, I studied typical development. I can tell you anything about typical development. I did not study abnormal. I only notice it in that it's outside of typical. But any human can notice, I call it being like a replicant face. When someone's face does this, like, weird, like, they're, oh my God, I'm so upset, but there's no tears. And then when they're interrupted for a second, they shut down, and there's this one weird picture. And you can get many weird pictures when people are being snapped at constantly. But for a second, she's looking, and she looks like it looks like evil personified. And I'm not saying she is. Amber, I'm sure you're not. And they said her childhood was horrible. Now, the thing is, though, she said Johnny Depp was horrible, and nobody else agrees with that. So we don't know how her childhood was. I don't know. And there's these weird text messages floating around that Johnny Depp, like, after he asked for a divorce, and then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, I need I need a restraining order against him. I'm scared. He hurt me. Dude, she, like, trailed after him to Australia. Kept going after him. There's fights. She was constantly recording him against his will. Trying to get him, working him up. Manipulative. Underhanded. Psychotic. Okay, it's not really psychotic, because psychotic, I think, means that you don't know what you're doing. And I think she knew exactly what she was doing. And I do believe that she has instability and is desperate and has attachment issues and all that. But dude planned it. Recorded it, tried that nasty recording trick where you try to, I don't know if anybody's like played a practical joke where they're like, what do you think? I don't know. Why are you acting this way? When they've set up a whole situation to occur and the other person has no idea. And it's illegal in California, but it was only allowed in because I believe they agreed to that beforehand. So anyways, and I just jumped all around. Again, this is bad that I have celebrity cases at the end of my True Crime Grapevine Wine Time pairings. But, so her claim is that, so this is a defamation suit that was started by Johnny Depp because she wrote in 2018, so they'd been divorced since 2016. She wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post, which is located in Virginia, which is why that is where this was filed. And in that article, the op-ed, she said that she was SA'd, YouTube friendly for you know what, assaulted, and that she was beaten. And Johnny said, and he had a forensic accountant. I mean, people called him a wife beater. He lost jobs. Disney doesn't like that stuff, right? That's not Disney friendly. But all he did was, allegedly, it appears as if they had a very tumultuous relationship. They both had drug and alcohol problems, so they fought a lot. But he had a pattern of moving away, and because she has an attachment disorder, which I do believe she does, she needed the attention. She couldn't stand it when they were fighting, and he would take himself away from it. So she would say, no, you're not doing that. And there's tapes to show this. This is like evidenced by her own tapings, surreptitious tapings of her running through the house trying to get him to engage, to fight. And he was like, no, we're fighting. This is going to get out of hand. He tries to remove himself, and she goes after him. And then she has all these stories, but it all seems predicated on the fact that she would not leave him the F alone. Yes, he took drugs. Yes, he drank too much. In case, I would say this whole tumultuous thing was driving him to use his coping techniques, which happened to be drugs and alcohol. But there was this whole push me, pull you, like, pay attention to me. And if you don't, I'm going to get it negatively by doing something, whatever. But Johnny's reaction, due to his own, it seems as if I understand this right, this is my supposition, but that he felt like his own way of dealing with family disruption and fights and dysfunction was to remove himself. So like people can be extroverts or introverts. Some people run at the fighting and they want more of it. They need to engage until, like there's some, that's how people talk about crazy sex, right? Like that's how you end a fight. Well, people want to fight as a way to stay enmeshed. But other people are like, no, separate. I need distance. No, stop, right? Introvert, extrovert. And that's a huge oversimplification. But when we have an outside bounds of that in a personality disorder, we have somebody who can't leave the other person alone, who if they will get attention, whatever. Like maybe, I don't know, Amber Heard inviting James Franco or getting involved with Elon Musk and throwing it in Johnny Depp's face. Maybe that kind of attention-getting thing. I don't know, but that's what it seems like, the one elevator thing. Look at me. Now I sound like Amber Heard on the stand, and that was the problem. Amber Heard on the stand was jumping around like how I'm doing with her story, only she wasn't drinking at the time. Now, people thought she sniffed something like, oh, she did a bump of cocaine, because she was like, and she literally, they had an up-close picture, and she put one finger to the side and like sniffed. Now, what was very more likely is she was making all these faces, and she was so upset. I'm so upset. I'm hurt. Like, I'm a good actress, right? Like, what if I was like, and then I was so upset. Look to the jury, right? See how easy that is? If you're an actress, okay, but the big towel, where are my tears? No tears. Amber Heard, no tears. So if she was sniffing something, people said maybe like not smelling salt, but maybe something similar. Like actors have all these tricks to make them cry. Menthol, something. Menthol would be great because if you said like, oh, I had a cold, if you caught it, because it was in her tissue when she was crying. But there were no real tears. And there was a lot of facial, like, but then they would, Johnny Depp's lawyer would object, and for a second her face would like, again, like how I was like making faces. I'm so upset. I can't eat. And then I was so fine. I mean, no. That's how fake it looked. Like how I looked fake. When you're like, I can't, I just, and then for a second it drops, and then you're like, take two, basically, and she's like looking to the jury. Those little looks. No. Amber. That is why you aren't the caliber of actor that Johnny Depp is. Not because somehow there was something about him. Well, I mean, I do think there's something about him that's pretty fabulous. Whatever that certain something that stars have. But no, Amber. You have bad acting. That's bad. Bad. Nobody believes you. Now, I'm not saying their relationship sounds like he was a prince and she was just this horrific person. I am not saying that. It sounds like they had probably great, crazy I don't know. It sounds to me like she tried to be somebody's everything and was willing to do anything and then used it to take it back and go forward and then manipulated somebody. But that is a trope that I'm not really comfortable saying.